everybody, Wes here. Thanks a lot for tuning into part 2 of the Immortal comparison. Now, at the end of the last part, we left off with the end of Stage 3. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to start off with Level 4.
Stage 4 begins in a room with Mortimer's flunky Ulandor at the bottom of the ladder. In the Genesis version, the level begins immediately with the old man dancing with the troll, and Ulandor casts a fireball, which incinerates the bastard, aiding the elderly student. He hands you a magic carpet that will assist you in covering the next 2 worm-infested rooms. This should be fun. Yeah, I don't think so.
You don't know what we can find. Why don't you come with me, little girl, on a magic carpet ride?
Good fucking god, this part is insanely frustrating. The floor is speckled with flame traps, with fireballs being fired from every orifice in the walls. Riding the carpet is mandatory, considering each and every step results in becoming worm chow. The magic carpet is an absolute bitch to maneuver, picking up momentum as you move forward. I would advise to move along at a leisurely pace, but that just won't fly in the NES version. Literally. Take too long and the carpet expires. Just like in real life. The carpet has no brakes, so turning in circles in place is pretty much the best way to stay alive. And if you think using the wall to stop your momentum is a brilliant idea, then you haven't counted on cheap bullshit. Unseen flame traps line the floor hidden by walls, so don't even think about it. Remember how I mentioned at the beginning of this video that the PC versions offer only 1 life? Are you kidding me? Forget about it. The carpet controls as if you're a ball in a pinball machine. I can't imagine escaping these 2 rooms unscathed with only 1 life. Just go ahead and invite the Reaper on in.
Hello?
Once you finally get past the trap-infested rooms, make sure to release the clumps of hair you pulled from your head, because you can finally relax on a bed of straw where a dream conjures visions of a majestic city buzzing with life amongst a beautiful fountain. But soon the serene display is interrupted by a vision of Mortimer's face, stricken with gaunt features and sunken evil eyes that penetrate your very soul. A disturbing dream indeed. A couple of ladders down, you come across an oversized glory hole with a stunning blonde peeking out. Oh, to be young again.
Wake up, damn it! Wake up!
Turns out this is Anna, Dunrick's daughter, who was kidnapped under Mortimer's orders. Just what the hell is going on here? She explains that she was able to escape from her abductor by using a ring given to her by her father, but she lost it. Do you have it? You mean this ring? How the hell did she end up dropping it in this corner? How the hell did she survive the worm room? She's delighted that you've recovered it and gives the old man a big hug. Aww, is that all? Risking your ass for the ring really isn't worth the trouble, as your reward is a clue to solve the next puzzle. Thanks for the info, sweetheart. Now let's just get the hell out of here. Anna's clue basically advises you to walk around the triangle on the floor clockwise 3 times. Simple enough, except the NES version has this goddamn ladder in the way, which the old man just has to traverse each and every time you make another round past the ring. Thankfully, each time you circle the ring, it counts as a pass regardless of how many times you're interrupted by the horribly placed ladder. Praise the Goblin Gods that the Genesis version fixed this annoying inconvenience. A hole opens up leading to the 5th level. Make sure to watch your step.
Alright, so that magic carpet part is a complete pain in the ass, and I wouldn't blame you if you tossed your cartridge out the window or played some baseball with it. But just wait till you see level 5, as it's a freaking masochist sloppy wet dream. Boy, I'd love to wrap my hands around the necks of the sadists who designed this game. Well, just see for yourself.
At the bottom of this ladder, you bump into another goblin, although his intentions are not at all hostile. He informs you that his chief wishes to speak with you. After grabbing an egg that lies in the corner, you follow the goblin to where his chief and several soldiers pore over a map, planning a strategic attack. The chief asks for the old man's help, and explains that long ago in the Age of Dragons, there was a fountain of youth located within the Labyrinth, but now only a trickle remains, which is currently blocked by a water monster, the Norlac. The Norlac also happens to be blocking your access to the deeper caverns below, where you will presumably find a Mortimer. The goblins have a plan to kill this beast and need to use you as bait. Sounds like you really don't have a choice in the matter, seeing as you need to get past this monster anyway. You come across the merchant once again, who advises you that you can train green lizards with bait once they hatch. Now what the hell is that supposed to mean? Must not be too important, because the Genesis version offers no such clue. The merchant does have a potion that you need though, which will allow you to shrink down to squeeze through a crack in the wall like a rodent. Be careful, as trolls will try to stomp you flat, then scrape your foot of you as to rid themselves of some smelly dog shit. Once you grow back to regular size and murder the 2 trolls, you open a chest which reveals a worm sensor with explicit instructions as how to proceed through the next worm room unscathed. You got all that? The Genesis version also gives you yet another fireball scroll, since the next room contains red flying lizards, green in the Nintendo version, which you need to shoot down before they claw your eyes out. One of the dead lizards holds a key which opens the door to the very best part of the game.
Oh, by the way, I was being sarcastic.
Well, duh.
Immediately you'll see a ladder on the Genesis version, and once descended reveals a whole lot of nothing. Very nice, EA. This useless room is missing from the NES version, but who cares, because the real challenge lies in this very room. The worm room is the most frustrating, teeth-grinding piece of shit in the game. Where do I even start? The worm sensor found earlier emits beeps to indicate where the worms are hiding, waiting to swallow you whole. This janky piece of trash works wonders, let me tell you. The quicker the beeps, the closer you are to a worm. Sounds efficient, doesn't it? Yeah, and I'm the Prime Minister of Mars. Cheap goblin garbage. But hey, what do you expect from a race of green loincloth-wearing freaks? The sensor is hardly helpful at all, and the best thing to do is to take baby steps around the room, except that if you move too slowly, the sensor will quit working. Again, cheap goblin garbage. Oh, but hey, remember those fantastic directions? Get the fuck out of here! I have to say that this room is absolute bullshit. 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 Give me a break. This was as far as I could get as a kid. There was just no way in Green Goblin hell that I was going to get past this room. And I'm not going to lie, I straight up used save states to get past this room for this video, and I wouldn't hold it against anyone else to do the same. This has to be one of the biggest instances of horse shit in the history of all of gaming. Okay, now that I've finished ranting, let's move on. The NES version was missing the useless ladder at the beginning of this room, but hello? What's this? Going down this ladder reveals a similar hallway like the useless one in the Genesis version, but at the end of it we come across a gaggle of humans sitting around just shooting the shit. Hey, it's the creators of the game. That's kinda cool. Makes me wonder if these guys were intended to be in the useless room at the beginning of the worm floor on the Genesis version, but for some unknown reasons were left out. When Will Harvey asks for a cup of coffee, don't lie and tell him you have some, or he killed his own son. Diabolical. And guess where you're placed after your creators murder you? Okay, let's try this again and not lie this time. Okay, nothing to gain here, so let's just head back up and... That's the Immortal, folks. So if you haven't stomped the cartridge into a million pieces yet, the next room sees the egg that you were carrying hatch, and a baby lizard flies free. Remember the gem of wisdom the merchant unveiled to you before? The room has a spring tile puzzle which reveals a ladder when depressed, but then closes without a weight to keep it pressed down. Zelda veterans will be familiar with this type of puzzle. Just lay the bag of bait on top of the spring mechanism, and the baby lizard will land on top of it to gobble up the delicious treat. Head down the ladder and pray that you never have to experience this level ever again. So now we find ourselves in a room covered in cobwebs. There's one huge difference between the Genesis and NES versions here, and that difference is that this stage was completely omitted from the NES version. Oh Lordy Green Goblin, God have mercy! Cause this level is a bitch. Poke your head into one of the two holes, and a spider leg grabs the old man by the tuchus and hauls him in. What the hell is this beast anyway, the final metamorphosis of Pennywise? Not quite, but close enough. Timing is everything in order to attack the giant arachnid, otherwise you'll be encased in a suffocating web cocoon. Luckily, the spider itself is just another insect to squash and allows passage to the next floor down. This room has several spider sacks which must be avoided at all times. The treasure chest in the room is also infested with spiders. What to do? What to do? A lone bottle of alcohol lies in the corner. You can swill the booze, but is this really the best time to be celebrating? It's powerful stuff, and will get the old guy completely shit-faced.
I don't want to feed Grandma bacon while she's in the bathtub.
Stumbling around in two. Instead, you want to abstain from the alcohol and pour it over the chest to be rid of the pesky critters. What's inside? A levitation spell with instructions to levitate through a hall of webs with a warning to avoid cobwebs and egg sacs. Okay. Sounds feasible, until you actually make it into the hall. Casting the spell lifts the old man from the ground, and movement is exactly like the magic carpet, only without the ratty old rug underneath you. Avoid cobwebs and egg sacs. Yeah, right. You can avoid the sacs all you want, you'll still be engulfed by thousands of spiders if you... Well, I'm not sure exactly, because it seems like death in this hall is completely random regardless of how careful you are. You can avoid sacs, only to be eaten alive in seemingly clear areas. And just like level 4, there are sacs obstructed from view by the wall, and hovering over these will guarantee a horrific death. Also, the levitation spell seems to quit just randomly, plunging you to the floor to once again become blanketed by hungry arachnids. And to make matters much worse, once you finally reach the ladder at the end of the hallway, if you don't access your menu at the exact spot at the bottom rung, you'll ricochet and pinball all over the fucking place. I just about twisted my controller into a pretzel here. Thank God. Once you finally reach the ladder, all is well, and... What the fuck? Why? I honestly don't have an explanation for this, as I tried this numerous times with the same result. You know, I'd have to say that this is just another case of bullshit. For some reason, the old man is finally able to step away from the ladder unharmed and make his way down to the next floor.
I think that level gave me arachnophobia. In fact, I sought out spiders after playing that level to stomp the shit out of them to exact my revenge. In fact, I'd almost rather stick a toothpick up my pee hole than have to play those two previous levels ever again. Thankfully, the next two levels aren't nearly as frustrating.
The next floor immediately places you in a room where a poor guy is chained up to the wall getting fucked with a knife. Zap his tormentor and speak to the poor guy to find out that this is the infamous Dunrick. Through shallow breaths, he reveals to you that Mortimer is not a prisoner, but is in fact the antagonist who imprisoned Dunrick and kidnapped his daughter. He asks for his ring, which he plucked off of his dead servant eons ago on the first floor. You hand it over and he chants an incantation before passing away. His magic words materialize as two scrolls which contain the spells Statue of Gold and Magnetic Hands. The Genesis version offers a third spell, Sonic Protection. Upon descending the next ladder, you once again run into Mortimer's manservant Ulandor, who realizes that the jig is up. Ulandor's completely absent from the NES version, so this battle never takes place. After killing him, the old man rests his weary bones and once again dreams of a striving city pulsating with life amid bountiful fountains. The scene quickly changes to a wall of fire, and through it armies of men attacking dragons, bright flashes incinerating them and sealing off all exits to the labyrinth in which the dragons dwell. One of the dragons manages to liberate itself from the slaughter. The next floor down brings you to an area completely full of water. Riding a barrel, the old man uses his staff to navigate the waters to finally meet the dreaded Norlac, a squid-like creature with massive tentacles. The trick is to lead the monster to a whirlpool, which is more than powerful enough to crush and drown the nautical beast. While this part can be a serious pain in the ass, it's nowhere as frustrating as the dreaded Worm Room or Hall of Webs. The Norlac follows you down the whirlpool and all goes black.
Alright, so that level wasn't so bad. But it turns out that Mortimer was the son of a bitch behind all of this trouble to begin with. So why the hell did he summon you to this labyrinth to rescue it? Well, let's find out.
The old man comes to from a foggy stupor to find goblin boobs in his face. He scarcely remembers being revived by enchanted water and a gentle touch. Oh, he's damaged goods now. Maybe it was just a dream. Yeah, a wet dream.
Bazinga!
For some reason, the female goblin is absent from the Genesis version, which is strange considering Nintendo's aficionado for censorship. Oh, no you don't! Upon opening the chest in the room, you obtain some new spells, Fire Protection and Blink, which you'll need once you fall down this hole and come face to face with a giant fire-breathing dragon who immediately engulfs you in flames. The dragon's entrance on the Genesis version is a bit more dramatic, but he does attack in the same manner, spewing blazing flames which turn you to ash within seconds. Using the blink spell right before each breath will spare you a barbecued fate, and once the dragon pauses for a breather, the old man hoists up the amulet without reading the dreaded runes. You remember what happened last time, right?
Don't read the runes.
This action summons an enraged Mortimer.
Read those fucking runes,
He insists.
I've waited 1,000 years for this.
With a snap of his fingers, Mortimer snatches back the amulet and douses the old man with lightning bolts, which are repelled by precise statue spells, and then an odd sound. Toasty! Holy shit, didn't see that coming. That was not in the NES port. Neither was the Grim Reaper, who finally makes his appearance. Maybe this is why the NES version has different cover art. Now at this point you've run out of defenses, and Mortimer knows it. He then stereotypically conforms to one of the oldest bad guy cliches known to man, and confesses his evil plot to you. Remember the helpful merchant? Didn't he look a bit familiar? Who do you think left all those chests? You know, he could have helped out a little more in that fucking worm room. This happens to be the very same dragon who destroyed Mortimer's enchanted city a millennium ago, and the evil wizard wants his fountain back. Unfortunately for him, he's been unable to kill the dragon with the amulet, for it would destroy him as well, thus the ruse to bring the old man in to do his dirty work for him. Since you refuse, Mortimer will simply summon another one of his students to use the amulet, but as long as Mortimer holds the invaluable piece of metal, the dragon will not harm him. Thanks a lot, Big Mouth. That's your cue to use your magnetic spell to take back the amulet, and the dragon immediately takes this opportunity to fry Mortimer, snuffing out the long life of the immortal like a match head. Content, the dragon retreats down his hole, leaving the old man victorious. A rope drops down and Anna comes to your aid, helping you escape. While in the NES version, only the rope drops and the story indicates that you meet up with Anna on your way out of the labyrinth. Now if you fail to give Anna her father's ring back in level 4, there's no mention of her whatsoever, while both versions indicate that a romance has developed between the two during the days it takes to escape the dragon's cavern in the good ending. It seems the Fountain of Youth has reinvigorated the old scoundrel, and for the first time in ages he can finally pop a chub again. Now that's what I call a happy ending.
Alright, so there you have it. Now, despite how frustrating this game is, it's still excellent and was really refreshing for its time, considering that no other console game was quite like it. Now, as for the differences between these two games, both have excellent graphics and animation, especially the NES version, which was pretty damn impressive for an 8-bit game at the time. Now, I'd have to say that the Genesis version is the better of the two, especially with the addition of the gruesomely violent death scenes, which no doubt would garner a mature rating by today's standards. And don't forget there's also the addition of the spider level, and despite how frustrating it is, it still offers more than the NES version. If you know why or how to avoid the random spiders that engulf you as soon as you climb out of the hallway, please let me know in the comments below. I'd really like to find out. Now, if you don't own a Genesis or a clone system, then by all means, check out the NES version. The story, the graphics, and sound are all excellent, and the thought of warring civilizations living underground is pretty intriguing. Alright, so I'd like to close by saying thanks a lot for watching my comparison of the Immortal, the NES versus Sega Genesis. I had an absolute blast making this video, and I know I missed a lot of differences. I couldn't cover them all, but if there's some glaring differences, some obvious ones that you feel that I missed, go ahead and let me know in the comments below, because maybe I didn't even know about it, so I'd really like to find out. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for some more comparison videos. Until next time, later.